Okay.
Hello everybody, new challengers in the house. Here with my buddy Ivan on Skype, and we're doing a little off-screen footage training. First ever class is in session. How you doing, Ivan?
Man, I am doing great. I'm excited to be breaking some of this stuff down
All right,
for the people.
let me turn on some data. So Ivan, you
Yeah.
want to go over talk a little bit about movement while I do all this nonsense?
Yeah. Go ahead and do that nonsense. Let me talk about movement fighting games. Uh, Now, again, we're using Street Fighter Cross Tekken because it's a nice mashup here. It's got a lot of mechanics we can work with, but it's still got the basic general Street Fighter mechanics: walking forward, walking back, dash forward, dash back, jump forward, jump back, neutral jump. That's your main options that you're going to use. Uh, and like we said earlier, jumping is not the end all be all of all things. It's, dashing is also very important in this game. You got forward walk speed is important. A lot of how your character plays depends on how fast your character can walk forward. Oftentimes, your back walk speed is not nearly as fast as your front walk speed. So, walking definitely is one way to control the space, which is what you want to do in this fighting game. Now you got jumping. Of course, there's neutral jump, straight up, and jumping back and forth. Diagonal jumping versus neutral jumping is, it'll change the properties of your attacks with your neutral jump. But neutral jump really isn't going to really help you move space, but it goes straight up and straight down, so you can use that as a tool to get over fireballs, and also a tool to pressure. You come straight up, you come straight down, you have an advantage coming down. Let's talk about dashes, though.
Oh, real quick before you go on.
What's up?
In some games, you also have what is a super jump. Street Fighter Cross Tekken actually does have a super jump.
Oh, okay. Show that off.
What you can do is in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you look at the dust. Normal dust plume, super jump plume. It's bigger.
Yeah, you jump a little higher.
Yep. So that's just down up. A lot of fighting games have that, but not every fighting game. I just wanted to interject that.
Right. See Vipers in Ultra Street Fighter 4. It's got a super jump. Very important. Actually. There you go. Little bit of a difference there. Just a little tasty difference. So you got jumping. It's very iconic for both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. But let's talk about dashing real quick. Jarvis, yeah, show him that dash. Go like all full screen. Let's go some dashing. There's the walk. There's the back walk. You see, it's much slower. Show him the front. Yeah, look at him scooting across the screen like that. How fast he gets there. Do the back ones. Now the back ones are noticeably. The back dashes are noticeably slower and kind of laggier. You see that reaction time there. The reason that is because when you're doing the back dash, not only are you airborne for a little bit, it's like a little mini jump. You're invincible for a sliver of time when you're traveling through the air there. So that back dash is kind of that little lag there where you land. It's kind of designed to be like the check on that. It's a little bit of a invincibility now for a little bit of vulnerability later. Now, a lot of characters you can see can alter the arc of their jump using different moves. See, he's using Tatsumaki because it's like when you jump, you're basically telling the other character, "Hey, I'm gonna land right here." And you lose the surprise when it comes to that. But when certain characters, whether they have a dive kick or a hurricane kick or even like an airborne fireball, will change the arc of the kick, and it makes it less predictable when you're going to land. See right there? There you go. Well, sometimes it'll create what we call a vortex where you don't know if that character is going to land in front of you or even behind you. And it creates cross-up or mix-up opportunities where you don't know they don't know where you're going to be. I know you're trying to hit that. See, that hit him in the front, that hit him in the back. Depending on what moves you use. See how that...
I'm really not hitting this one.
I don't know if that crossed over to this game.
I think that Ken's does.
Yeah, definitely Ken's does. But you see how he glides. There you go. You get him from the other side. So you see how Jarvis and Ryu are able to change the trajectory of their jump using that particular move, which is down back kick. A lot of different characters have moves that will change their trajectory, and you got to know how to do that because it'll help you control the space, and it might help you create a vortex. characters like Cammy, Akuma, Lily in this game. Uh, Even my man DJ over there in Street Fighter 4's got a knee drop. It's not exactly a dive kick. Like Goken, Ying, Yin and Yang, they definitely have dive kicks. Change the arc of their jump, which makes them that much more dangerous when in the air.
Yeah, it definitely adds another dimension to the character because, as Ivan stated before, if I commit to a jump, it's a definite commitment. Now, most 2D fighting games like Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Mortal Kombat, you cannot block in the air. So when you commit to jumping forward, your opponent knows most of the time exactly where you're going to land and all of your options. If you'd have a move like a Tatsumaki or a dive kick or something or teleport, something to move you around, it gives you that many more options and it makes your jumping a little bit more viable to just jump as opposed to a normal jump where it's like where you're gonna land in front of me kind of deal.
Yeah, you can set him to jump and you can see how vulnerable you are in the air. You can set Kazuya to jump. So as Kazuya is sailing through the air like a crazy person, he cannot jump. I mean, he cannot block. So you have your normal anti-airs that'll just knock you straight out the air. You have air-to-airs, boom, there's combo, and you have your straight up anti-air specials that are all the threat to the jumping. So that's all the stuff you have to worry about when you're sailing through the air. Boom, right there. All right, what do you want to talk about next, Jarvis? We gonna keep talking about this movement?
Let's talk about crouching.
Definitely. Obviously, crouching helps you block low, and it also reduces the size of your hitbox, so certain attacks will whiff against you if you know which attacks to. Yeah, see that attack where he kicks Kazuya straight in the face will definitely whiff if Kazuya's just like, I'm just going to take a knee. Boom, see? Whiffing. Now, the biggest thing about crouching is that you can't move while you're crouching, but you can avoid certain moves. The bad thing about crouching is that even if you're crouch blocking, you're going to get hit by jump ins and overheads. Boom. There's no way that those are going to get blocked if you're crouching. Then again, certain characters, if they're charged characters, ducking is a necessity.
Yeah, crouching in 2D fighting games like this has an advantage because if they're standing on the ground or they're doing a move from the ground, most of the time you can block it just with a crouch block.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a safer option. It's pretty much your go-to block. You crouch block. You can just block standing moves like that, no problem. You can block crouching moves. And moves like dive kicks and moves that change your trajectory, generally, you can also block those crouching from the air. So, be mindful of that as well. Don't rely on that, though. It's important to assume that if someone's in the air, they're going to hit over your block. Because it's not what you want.
Yeah. When you get hit by a jump in, that's big damage right there.
That's auto block, so he's going to block automatically. But, yeah, like Ivan was saying before, certain attacks will whiff, but for the most part, it's just kind of there to help you block things. And if I decide to transition low, still going to get blocked.
There you go. So we go on to attacking?
The only other thing I want to say about movement is it's key. When you first get your character, you get hands on your character, a lot of people just want to immediately go to the command list. Me now, having played fighting games a bit, I want to go see what kind of dash they have, like what it looks like, how far back their back dash goes, how far their jump arc is, how floaty they feel. It's kind of like if you play a platformer like Mario, kind of think of it that way. before you go out there and you start jumping on Goombas and kicking green shells around, you want to know what your jump is like, what your movement is like, so you just don't go running into danger. You
That's
don't.
right.
You want to test out the edges of the platforms so you can know how far you can go before you have to jump. Fighting games, you want to get in there and you want to play as your character and you want to know every aspect of your character. You're going to want to move left and right. You're going to want to move, jumping, super jumping. Every single option that you have, you're going to want to explore it. Characters that have double jumps, air dashes, and things like that.
All
That's another.
jumps.
Yeah, those are jumps and those are tools. For games like KOF, you've got normal jumps, super jumps, hops, hyper hops, all kinds of things. So, keep that in
True.
mind. Movement is extremely important, especially so in 3D fighters. But I think people, especially newer players and players that don't have a lot of experience with 2D fighters,
Don't think
kind
about it.
of they underestimate the importance of just basic movement.
Yeah.
in your
And let me
fighting
say
game.
just a couple things. Just because a character can jump really high, it doesn't mean their jump is better. As a matter of fact, sometimes a character who has a very shallow arc. See, watch my arc is my Gal's arc is a little steeper, it's a little slower, and I don't have a way to change my direct trajectory. Here's my cross up right there. You got to know where it is. But let's say you're playing Mario and you switch from Mario to Luigi. You're playing one of those where Luigi's a little is clumsier, but jumps way high. It's going to take some time getting used to. Same thing with people's jumps and people's walk speeds. So like Sagat is like just so slow. Like that's his real walk speed right there. See how fast scooting along? This is like Sagat's walk speed. While Vega's like regular walk is like this. It creates it's just a different thing. You have to get used to it. And because Bison can practically levitate when he flies through the air, doesn't mean that it's necessarily better than a character like, say, Marduk, whose jump is so shallow that it creates such good opportunities. It also doesn't get him in trouble when you're trying to jump over a fireball for like this distance. Let's say Kazuya, if you had a fireball, with Hadoken that over to me, and I jump straight at him. I'm landing right here. That's well within his range. So I got to know the range if I'm going to jump in without getting punished, and I land like right here. All things you got to think about when you're picking a character. Get to know how they feel, know where the jumps are safe and where they're not.
Yeah, and in the future we can set some characters to record so you can go more in depth in a more advanced tutorial about specifically punishing fireballs because that's huge in games like Street Fighter. But knowing your movement is so important, especially in a tag-based game, because you're gonna want to be able to make that transition from playing one character to another, and it's gonna be difficult if you don't know every nuance of the character. And you can look at it and you can say, well, that's just a minor detail, but every single aspect of a matchup is going to be based on things like jumping and walking. Like for me, I play Marduk. Characters with fast walk speeds can walk out of some of my tick throw setups. So
That's true.
for
That's
me,
true.
it's important to know, well, how can I improve my throw setups so that people can't just walk away from me. You can see Guile there is very fast.
Yeah, and especially watch how his foot speed. Look how fast he walks backwards compared to Ryu. Ryu walk backwards. Now switch me in.
Your back walk speed is about the same speed, if not faster, than your forward walk.
Yeah, and watch this. I'm throwing like a life punch fireball. I can straight up walk behind this thing, man. It's a sonic boom, but it goes like less than 20 miles an hour.
You're gonna have to dash in there, man.
Did you see that? Two-hit combo. I can almost walk into that combo. I can walk into that combo. See? Foot speed is important. Characters like Vega, Akuma, DJ, like they have very fast walk speeds and it creates opportunities for them. Especially like characters like I.
But don't be disheartened if you got a character like Sagat who doesn't have fast walk speed, or Makoto, because Sagat's got the limb range and he's got the fireballs. He's also got some tech he can use to increase the range of his specials. That's really advanced, like Kara canceling is what it's called. And Makoto has an exceptional dash and a brilliant backdash at his disposal.
So characters that are slow usually have different tools to control the space other than their speed, like stretchy limbs, freakishly long limbs, or freakishly long dashes, or specials that help them move around the stage better.
What Ivan said there is also important because controlling space is pretty much the key of every single 2D fighting game. Because as you can see, there's only 2 planes here.
Yeah.
If when Ivan throws out that fireball there, that is a part of the screen that Kazuya no longer has access to. He has to do something to mitigate that threat because he can absorb the fireball. He can go through it. He can jump over it. The fact of the matter is, if he wants to avoid taking damage or having to block that fireball, he has to react. So in doing that, Ivan is gonna throw that fireball, and then he's gonna have to use other options to try to punish Kazuya. This is
And
where
when he jumps, flips.
and this is where movement comes into play, because when you're throwing things around the screen, you're gonna want to chase them down. You're gonna move around. You're gonna want to stay on your toes, pretty much. All right. So that was our movement lesson there. I think that covers just about everything. I think I'm gonna cut this off here, Ivan, before we talk about attacking. So we'll be able to knock out multiple lessons, but that's what we kind of want to present to you all, who may have seen one of our panels and might be here, or just want to learn something new. All right, Ivan, you ready to move on to the second one?
Let's do it.
All right, so that was movement. Thank you for joining us, the new challengers in our class, and until the next challenge.
Peace.